Hello everyone and welcome back for week 11, the overview for the 11th week of English 1510 Comp 1, A1217 at Oakland Community College. I have a short and sweet overview this week. We are finalizing on a few things here. The week only requires one item. That is the outline with abstract that is due. Folks, I'm posting this up as a slight adjustment I'm giving until Wednesday because I have a couple of students in here where I still have to post commentary on your summary and working thesis and primary points of support with works cited. I have less than half the students who have completed those correctly. I want to make sure that we're looking at the same things here, so I'm going to switch this over to student view. Now, for these assignment components that were already due, guys, on the research paper pieces, I should say on memoir pieces, if you were one of my students who did everything, got everything on time and everything else, and I didn't have ChatGPT or any other issues with those submissions, which is less than half of this class, and I want to reiterate, folks, face-to-face classes, I have over 100 students with less than, well, I have four cases in total. In my online classes, I have 17 total between my online classes only, and it's less than a third of the student count. This is not a mystery to us as to where this issue lies, and I'm beyond finished with dealing with those cases. I have 3 more this week that are new file submissions and everything else. This is going to go to admin. We are going to have the meetings this week and be pushing towards a zero tolerance policy. Online students overwhelmingly are costing us time, resources, attention, and pulling it all away from students who are actually doing their work and doing it on time. That stuff aside, most of you over the last week have seen in your memoir rhetorical analysis in these first component pieces. If you've been up to date with the rest of the week, if you haven't seen it already prior to this, you've seen over the last few days grades starting to come in on those and be populated for the remainder of the items on these. I'm not requiring most of those students to do any version of a rewrite on the memoir. If you had your summary outline and rough draft in and there were no issues there, I went with the comments and corrections, and I still provided audio feedback files and commentary on the page on those, but I'm not taking points away on the final drafts on these, and most of you should have seen those already. If you haven't, you'll see it. You've seen it sometime on the 14th or 15th, but certainly by the 17th for those. Same goes for rhetorical analysis. Most of those are already posted on there for these, and the final draft ones. I'm not taking further points away. If you had flagged files, guys, that's different. You're back of the line. I'm going to worry about you last. I have a number of students now who truly need time and attention. The students that were in violation of those things, you can take that up with administration if necessary. We're no longer willing to deal with all these things. This is literally costing us twice the time that it's taken even in semesters past with dealing with these issues. If students don't do their work, that's on them, and I'm no longer going to be giving continuations or exceptions. From here on forward, anything else that's flagged, the most that I will offer is in-person writing assessment, and if that doesn't show validation on all those things and you can't do everything that you said you could do online, and it's clear with the submissions and pairing the files and patterns of error, I'm not giving further consideration. This is beyond the pale in terms of the consideration, time, and attention that it should take to dedicate to these things. I'm not at 100% yet. I'm getting there, but even at that, even if I were 100%, it's still taking me 65 hours a week to address the issues for classes. For the research paper summary with working thesis and primary points of support, I extended the outline date to the 17th because I want to make sure everyone at least has their feedback file for the summary and working thesis before they have submitted this outline with abstracts. Now, having said that, I have most of those already completed and ready to go. That will give people the time to get those outlines in, and then we don't have a draft between. So this being the 11th week on this, you guys have your research paper outlined with abstract due this Wednesday at 11:30 p.m. And then the finalization of the term is completing the essay then. That'll be due on the 28th, getting the tutoring confirmation forms, and anybody who's requesting a WS. If you did not complete this semester, you had a ChatGPT situation, you missed work, you were sick, whatever else, I'm willing to consider WS grades. Those are withdrawal stop attending that would not impact the student's GPA. But I'm only willing to consider it if I get a request from the student individually. That'd have to be filled out in those forms. And for that submission here, make sure that you follow what it says in these instructions and give me a submission of that request no later than the 28th. Otherwise, if you're in one of those categories and you had missing files, late work, whatever the case may be, or a ChatGPT situation, it's just going to be the failed grade. I'm not going to go through and have post WSs for students that don't request them. The other component on there, guys, being the confirmation of your guys' required tutoring. I have had a few students in the last couple of days asking me about how they go through this with tutoring. This speaks volumes to what has gone on all semester in my online class, and particularly with this online class. To request and wonder how this is addressed now, those have been covered since week 1 of the semester, pre-term and prior to the term. The week prior, the announcements and video that were posted and the email information that was sent out, not only was that covered in every single one of those files, it was covered in pretty much every one of these overview videos for several weeks, including me taking you through in this video platform and showing you up here in your tools under student services, showing you exactly how to go to the ASC and link the files and do all those things. Okay, so I'm not going over it again. If you didn't watch those things, I've done more than enough hand-holding in this semester to get students through. Please make sure that you read this overview, this announcement on slight delay. I've had a couple of different things go on, and being under the weather over the last couple of weeks has really set me back, and I do think all of these things have compounded, but I haven't had to spend this much time on contingency plans dealing with a number of these different things on top of being this sick in all my years of teaching. So please make sure you read through this notation here. If anything else comes up over the next 2 weeks, I'm spending all my time and attention on students who have been up to date, doing their work, and having no issues thus far. The rest of you, it's time to pick yourself up and start doing the work and get the remainder of the things done and see if you can salvage the grade. Otherwise, I have the offer of the request for the WS. You can certainly take me up on that and make that request. Otherwise, I don't know what else to tell you in terms of a grade. For you students who have been doing the work this semester, you make sure that you read this over. Make sure that your database research is clear and concise. Make sure that for the outline that you do complete and submit on Wednesday, that everything is something I can find in those databases. I also want to remind you guys that when you're doing this research, whatever the topic is that you guys are researching for your topic, let's say you're a music literacy topic person. When you're doing these, most of your guys' citations, if not all, if they're done correctly and we're getting primary sources that are actually peer-reviewed, detailed articles from academic sources, if I go through here and I use a source like this, my citation in the 8th edition, there's the 7th, there's the 8th. Here's one that's out of an actual magazine. Make sure that you guys have all of this content information on here, and make sure you're using the 8th edition. Now, on something like this, if you do see it and it's listed as 8th edition and it ends with a year like this, check one of the full text available sources, because for everyone, including myself, when I'm going through database files and conducting research, it's very important, and for you guys it might do the same thing. I'm on a VPN right here, so it's making me log in secondary. to go past the firewall. But if we go here, oftentimes there will be another citation function here. And if I go with MLA 9th edition on this, you'll see that in addition to that having here, it'll give me some additional information linked at the bottom that it didn't have at the other one. It's going to have this accessed date on this, which is fine. But the main thing that I want to note is that I have this number here that's listed in this part of the file. Most often it'll say DOI, which is Digital Object Identifier, but try and get the one that has the time stamping if at all possible. If I have that and I were to put something in my framing like this, and I am creating my works cited page, let's say, mine here is not showing as a Times New Roman. If I have my Times New Roman on here and I have my works cited page that I'm setting up and I grab this citation function like this, if I set this now to the proper font style and size and I make sure that I have my line spacing, everything set correctly, I should be able to just tab this over and have my entry look like this, and I know that time stamping is included in this. Most of you, though, will see that you end up with the DOI on there. Okay, so try and make sure those sources, if at all possible, if you have the DOI, make sure that those are included. All right, folks, I look forward to seeing the rest of the work. For those of you who have been doing the work and staying up to date, I truly do apologize that you got caught in the crossfire here between some really unusual circumstances. It's built over the last couple years. We are going to make some adjustments this summer and in fall of 24 to make sure that the students that are doing what they need to be doing, they're getting the time and attention they deserve. And the students who are not, they go by the wayside and they can deal with administration or the zero tolerance policy of a zero or even removal from the school. It's not fair to everyone else, faculty, staff, students, anyone, that the academic integrity of the college should be subject to things like this when, you know, we're giving too much time and attention to the wrong squeaky wheels. All right, those of you who've been staying up on it, I've been trying to make more contact with you guys over the last 2 weeks and let you know you're my top priority, and you will be from now to the end of the semester. All right. Look forward to seeing the rest of the work, guys. Good luck.